20 lessons the board game Monopoly taught me about the game of life. You know how to play the game Monopoly, right? The game we all played when we were kids. Let's have a quick recap on how Monopoly works, okay? In Monopoly, each player starts with a set amount of money and has the opportunity to earn more money each time they pass, go, or land on certain squares. The goal of the game is to buy different properties on the board, and then hopefully over time those properties will give you rent, which brings in more money and allows you to eventually beat all of your competition by owning the most real estate and bankrupting your competitors. You are starting off with cash and buying high ROI real estate, and if you watch till the end of this video, I'm going to share the big secret on how you can beat all your family and friends in Monopoly every single time. So up until a few years ago, I never knew how important the game Monopoly was until I played it as an adult and realized it's possibly the most important game I've played in my life. So I'm going to share with you the lessons I've learned. Before we begin, I want to say if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button to not miss any of the future videos on getting in, getting around, and getting out in real estate. And hit the like button to show your support. Awesome. Let's begin. There are 20 lessons and we're going to swim through each of them really quick. The first lesson I learned by playing Monopoly is that life is about moving around, experiencing new places, meeting new people, communicating with people, making deals with people. And that's kind of like going around the Monopoly board pass and go. The second lesson I learned was to say yes to every opportunity.
Yes. Yes. Say it again. Yes.
Don't just say no. Actually, think about it. Evaluate it, make calculative decisions. In Monopoly, the best strategy is to buy the real estate you land on. So if you found a property that cash flows, learn how to say yes.
The word is yes, Carl.
Yes! Don't be afraid. If you believe all the good deals are taken, then you'll never find any good deals. So don't say no, say yes.
Yes!
Check it out. Okay? Because if you don't check it out, you'll never find a good deal. You'll find it quite hard to find an opportunity. Check it out. The third lesson, make that first deal as soon as possible. The sooner you start buying a house in Monopoly, the sooner you can receive rent, the higher chance you have of winning, right? That's the same in real life. The sooner you invest in real estate, the sooner you will begin to build generational wealth, okay? Wealth that lasts, wealth that can provide for your children and children's children. Okay, handing over real estate along with education needed to maintain these properties are a lot easier than handing over business to your kids. Okay, as you already have realized, many elders have found it difficult to hand over their business to their kids. Most cases, the kids don't want to take over and don't want to do their father's business. They prefer to do something else. Fourth lesson, be patient. Play the long game. Monopoly continues until all players but one have gone bankrupt, right? So it can go on for hours, just like playing the game in life. Meeting your financial goals is a marathon, not a race. Many players in both the game of Monopoly and the game of life are impatient and give up too early, causing them to make irrational mistakes. Be patient. Fifth lesson, start saving early for deals. Okay, the sooner you can invest in a good deal, the sooner you can generate money for you. The sad truth of today's society is that everyone is pass and go, collecting and saving that $200 and spending their money on new phones, belts, speakers, and cars, and just things that depreciate in value, instead of income producing assets like real estate and things that appreciate in value. The sixth lesson, buy leverage. Purchase what someone needs. If you know someone who has 2 orange cards in Monopoly and you own the other orange card, you have leverage, okay? You have what they need. You can make a very, very good deal if you negotiate well, or you might keep it and not make a deal at all. Someone's trash is another man's treasure. So get leverage. Seventh lesson, buy more leverage. Okay, I learned to put my property on mortgage to buy more properties. I learned that you must know when it's a good time to put your property on mortgage and when it isn't. You must know the difference between good debt and bad debt. All right, let's go over that real quick. Good debt is money owed for things that increase in value or can provide positive income. And bad debt is money owed on things such as speakers and cars that decrease in value. All right, so learn how to get yourself some good debt. Eighth lesson, always keep cash on hand. By far, this is the most important lesson in both the game and the financial world. Okay, how do you win in Monopoly? To win in Monopoly, you have to be the last player left. Okay, in other words, the last one to have the money. And there are many times you land on great opportunities with no cash remaining in your reserves. Okay, so even though cash flow is important, you want to have these properties paying you rent and giving you cash flow, there are many cases where cash reserves trump cash flow. So always keep cash reserves. The ninth lesson, the most expensive asset is not always the best. Okay, expensive does not equal value. Everyone wants the expensive blue lands and houses at the end of the board. They're expensive to buy and expensive to rent. But the trick in Monopoly is to focus on owning and building properties on the red and orange cards, aka lands, because they resemble middle income properties, okay, which is the best value for money and great rent too. And for the record, middle income properties are the only properties I buy because they are recession proof. What do I mean by that? Think about it this way. If a recession happens, the wealthy income earners vacate their expensive properties and they move down to the middle income properties. If a boom happens, economy turns, the poor income earners get some money, all right, maybe a whole lot of money, and jump up to the middle income properties. So what? It's always in demand. That's why I say it's recession proof. Rents and prices are the most stable in middle income properties. Plus, it's always in demand by the poor, middle, and wealthy. 10th lesson, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Okay, buying properties in Monopoly will earn you money if someone lands on your square, sure. But with 40 spaces on the board, chances are slim that a player will end up on yours if you only have one. That's why it's a good idea to buy multiple spaces around the board and increase your chances of making money. This is what I learned in Monopoly, but I disagree if it's about real life. Many people think they need to scatter the little money they have saved up just because they've heard the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. But as Warren Buffett says, you should put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket very carefully, because focus is how wealth is created. And afterwards, once you have created your wealth, then you can diversify and put your little new eggs in different baskets to protect your wealth. That's what I've come to believe as well. Guys, I've got 10 more lessons to share. Every single one of these lessons are just as important as the next. I just want to say, if you've enjoyed the video so far, you can support me by smashing the like button and subscribe so YouTube will show my video to more people that can benefit from what I've got to share. 11th lesson, focus on passive income. I like to call it unearned income because nothing really is passive in life, okay? But real estate rentals is the closest thing to it. The hard part is finding the deal. In other words, in Monopoly, landing on the deal. And afterwards, it's just a piece of cake, maintaining the property. Guys, there's only so many times in life you can pass go and collect $200. Okay, each time you pass go, you are getting older and slower and more tired, and you have a chance to be wiped out from both economic and personal forces. And other things can happen to you, okay? You can't keep living on salary forever. That plan just doesn't work anymore, okay? It's an old plan. I speak about the new plan more in my free training I hold online. You can check it out at the very end of the video. I'll leave it in the description below. 12th lesson, plan for the unexpected. I don't know if it happens to you, but in Monopoly, I keep ending up in jail. Between my friends, I'm by far the most person who has ended up in jail in Monopoly. Now, in real life, you might not go to jail, but things happen to you. Situations happen that you must be ready for. We saw what happened with the world during coronavirus. The ones who only owned liabilities and were living off of one income, their salary, paycheck to paycheck, were at high risk of being wiped out. Many were. Salary earners were wiped out, commercial and industrial real estate were wiped out, stocks were wiped out. Hey, PC. This is my cap. Which tells you one thing, only residential real estate survived. Go. Passing go, collecting $200 is not going to cut it. So plan for the unexpected and invest in shelter, residential real estate that provides you monthly passive income. The 13th lesson, don't stockpile cash. So when you play Monopoly, everyone starts with $1,500, okay? Plus you get $200 every time you pass go. As long as you don't run into any problems, right? Jail. You could keep quietly collecting money and never spend it. But saving all your cash isn't the road to victory. Cash on its own is useless. Instead, you need to make smart purchases and build long-term wealth. The player in Monopoly who is hoarding cash but doesn't buy any assets end up losing all the cash to the ones who hold all the assets, which tells you something. Look for ways to generate, not save. The 14th lesson, on the flip side, avoid spending all your cash straight away. Okay, you don't want to spend too much right away. You need cash on hand to keep buying properties. Plus, you might have to give cash to an opponent or pay a fee after picking up an unlucky chance card. The 15th lesson, changing plans. Listen, sometimes you hold 2 orange cards in Monopoly and the other player lands on the other orange card, purchases it, and just refuses to trade it with you. So you might have to change your plans and conquer 3 other colored cards somewhere else. And that's okay. Okay, that's okay. It's important to be flexible. The 16th lesson, practice discipline. If you've been overspending lately, it's not a bad idea to go on a fast. Okay, and save the money. Come on, save the money you would otherwise spend. The key to success is to transfer all the money you would have spent during the weekend or month into a savings account, okay? If you own an iPhone, I like to use Money Pro. It's an application on the App Store, and no, this is not an advertisement. I just like using the app. I'll leave that in the description below too. The 17th lesson, negotiate like a pro. Okay, at some point in life, you'll probably start negotiating with your opponents to trade properties or borrow money. Okay, this game has helped me a lot to negotiate with buyers, sellers, suppliers, obtaining prices, knowing when to negotiate and knowing when not to negotiate. The 18th lesson, ask for help when needed. All right, be coachable. Some players play the game without knowing the rules and without asking for help. I remember playing once with my best friend's sister who would keep landing on these good opportunities, choosing not to buy the property and kept hoarding the cash. She wanted to get the most cash possible. Obviously, she was the first to get knocked out. Point is, hey, Pishi, get out. Point is, ask for help when you need it. Because some people out there, man, they think they know everything. It shuts their brain from learning new things. Okay, the one thing that changed my life was realizing education doesn't end after graduation. It only begins. Okay, so as soon as you tell yourself you know everything, you're gonna stop learning. Okay, for years earlier, I had stopped learning, and becoming coachable and realizing I don't know everything was a big game changer for me. So I wanna thank me.
I wanna thank me for believing in me.
19th lesson, the banks never run out of money. If you take a look at the back of the Monopoly board or the instruction cards, let's read it. It says, what if the bank runs out of the money? And the answer is written, some players think the bank is bankrupt if it runs out of money. The bank never goes bankrupt. To continue playing, use slips of paper to keep track of each player's banking transaction until the bank has enough paper money to operate again. The banker may also issue new money on slips of ordinary paper. And finally, the last and most important lesson, lesson number 20, trade 4 greenhouses for 1 red hotel. That's the key to winning the game of Monopoly and is the key to winning in the game of life in real estate investors' world. It's also the principle that builds massive amounts of wealth in real estate. Anyone who has read Robert Kiyosaki's books knows that he's built his real estate assets on this principle. Robert Kiyosaki also created an online game called the Cash Flow Game, which I believe is the developed version of the 1935 Monopoly game. And if you want to watch a preview and see what that's like, and most importantly hear my thoughts on what I learned in that game, you can watch the video that's going to appear in a minute after we are done here. Final thoughts. Life is like Monopoly, guys, with just one little difference. When you are playing the game Monopoly, everyone knows that you have to invest in order to become wealthy and win the game. But in real life, most people are trying to win by just going around the board and only passing go. That's what you do when you live paycheck to paycheck and you don't invest. So use what you've learned as a kid and just invest. The game was made to teach you about investment. Alright guys, we have reached near the end of the video. I want to keep my promise with those with focus, watching up until here, and on how you can beat all your friends and family in Monopoly. This is not a game of mere chance, it is actually a game of strategy. Okay, you have to know which properties have the highest return on investment, and you have to hit that like button, because I'm going to share with you my little secret. The railroads and utilities have a very high return on investment, as well as certain properties like the orange and red, because the cost versus the earnings is pretty strong. Okay, the most expensive properties on the board have the lowest return on investment, and that's the same in life. Okay, why do they have the lowest return in Monopoly? Because if someone goes to jail, they skip that whole zone. Okay, from a mathematical standpoint, your oranges and your red cards are the absolute best. So now I have given you a big secret you can use to beat all your family and friends. Thank you for watching. It's SANAN-SANANI. Again, if you've liked today's video, you can show your support by hitting the like button and commenting on YouTube, so YouTube knows it's a good video and shows it to more people. Take care. Have a good day. God bless you.